Hello, welcome to another macro video. We've got a new macro today which deals with the differences between documents, enabling you to spot the differences easily. So let's have a look. The new macro is called Document Differences Highlight, and it's a follow-on from an earlier macro from last week which compared three documents. The point was that I realised that the idea could have a wider application and not just what I started with, and so I've added more functionality as well. So what's the basic idea? It's comparing files, and what you want to find out first of all is, are there any differences, and if so, where are they? If I give you a couple of applications, that might give you an idea of how you might apply it in your work. So let's have a look. So we're editing along, and it's good to keep some backups as you go along, just in case something goes badly wrong. You can always go back to an earlier version, and I tended to use a sort of indexing thing, which needless to say was done with a macro to save the next version. Fine, but if things go wrong, for example, you think, oh no, I had a look at 03 to check something and I just carried on editing it, so I've been editing the wrong chapter. So what you want to know then is, what are the differences and where are they in the document? So another possible one is where you foolishly allowed the author to have a look at a version of the file, and the author responds, oh, I've just made a few changes, is that okay? But don't worry, you've got and he says, but don't worry, I've used track changes, which is fine, but the bad news is that in the meantime you've carried on editing the same file. But the good news is then that you can use Word's compare function to see the difference between his version and her version and your version. Fine. And also you can use the compare now macro, which works the Word's compare function more easily. But the bad news is that the file's already stuffed with track changes, so if you use track changes to show what the author has changed, it's all going to be mixed in with the other track changes. But then again, the good news is that when you want to make the changes, add the extra changes, then you can jump backwards and forwards between the different documents by using find same place. And so the key question then for that application is, where are the differences? Whereabouts in the document has the author made changes? And that's what this new macro is useful for. Document differences highlight. So let's see it in action. And the important principle is that it goes through paragraph by paragraph, comparing the two files. So the important thing then is that before you start it, you must place the cursor in the same paragraph in each of the files. Okay, so let's see it in action. So let's find ourselves a couple of files to compare, A and B. Okay, so we're going to have a go at this, and as I said, make sure where the cursor is. So in that first document it's in the top line, second document it's in the top line in the first paragraph, and then let's start from A. We run the macro and it says it acknowledges that we're starting with file A, and it tells you to put the cursor in the same paragraph in the other, where it says two files because it can work on three. So we say OK, and then we want to click in the second file and then back in the first file. So we click OK, click the second, click back in the first, and it goes through paragraph by paragraph, making all those bits visible. I mean, obviously I've just put in sort of silly errors into it just to make it clear what's going on. But in fact, you don't have to do the whole document. You can start from somewhere and go through to the end, or the new function on it is that you can do a selection of paragraphs. So let's have a go at that. So the same principle again. Oh, we need to get rid of these, don't we? So I've got a macro to get rid of the underlining and highlighting, but it's only where it's highlighted and underlined, which is useful because if you've got other highlighting, it won't get rid of that because it only changes the highlights that are underlined. So let's do the same in the other one and get rid of that. So that's all nice and clear. Right, so suppose we want to have a look at, say, I don't know, this paragraph here down to this one down here. So hold the shift key down and click, and so you've got a set of paragraphs that are selected. So it starts with the paragraph "There was nothing so very." So let's find that here. That's this one, "There was nothing so very." So I've clicked in the same first paragraph. Okay, go back to the first one and click in there, and then run the macro, and then again click. So run the macro, say OK, click in the second, click back in the first, and what it does is to just check those first paragraphs, the selected paragraphs, and it doesn't go beyond that. Okay, now the next thing to have a look at is if we just sort of wind this up a bit, just to see this one particular paragraph. The way the macro works, as I said, is to go through paragraph by paragraph, and it takes a given paragraph and starts by looking at the beginning of the paragraph, obviously comparing with the other, and if it's the same first word, second word, third word, fine, you know, it keeps going until it finds one where that word is different from the one in the equivalent paragraph in the other file there. So it then says, well, okay, that's an error, right, so let's go to the end of the paragraph. So it starts from the end and works backwards, again trying to check that the text is the same word by word as the target. And when it gets to a word that is not the same, then it knows that's an error. And that was as far as I'd got with the compare three documents macro. But what I've done this time is say, okay, well, suppose there are several errors. Why don't we split the area between the first error and the last error, split it in half, look in the middle, see if you can find two words that are the same in both paragraphs. Watch out on there and watch out on there, and then start from that and go backwards until there's an error, until there's a difference between the two files, and again go forwards from there until it gets to another one that is again not the same in the two files, and stops. So the effect of this is that you can show the exact position of up to 4 different errors. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where the errors are. Okay, right, now supposing you've got an extra blank line in the document, in one of the documents, that means that the paragraphs won't match up, and therefore at that point the macro has to stop and say, sorry, they don't match. So if we say, let's say start from the first paragraph, make sure this is on the first paragraph as well. So yeah, do as I'm telling you. So start from that one, go from there, OK, to click that one, click back there, and it gets to here. Sorry, this yellow stuff down here is from a previous run. It's got as far as that blank line there and realizes it's not the same as the equivalent paragraph in the other file. What you can do then, if you want to, is to click back in the first file that's got the extra line. So you're clicking in that paragraph, so she was considering, and then you're in so she was considering there. So okay, we can go again and run from there. Okay, click, and then it runs right through to the end of the document, because that's how I chose to run it this time. Okay, what else did we want to have a look at? Okay, yes, so let's get rid of those, and let's get rid of these. Let's go to the top of that one. Oops, missed. Top of that one, and the top of this one, and let's bring in a third file just to show that that works the same as compare 3 docs. So that's the C. So we've now got 3 of them. Cursor in the first one there. So this time we've got 3 documents, so we run the macro and then click the other 2 documents. Ready, steady, go. Click in number 2, click in number 3, and it goes through and compares. Oh, it's got the blank line in there. Okay, well, why don't we just knock that out? Then we can start again from there, because this one is on Soshi, that's on Soshi. Back to here, run the macro, click in this document, click in that document, and it goes through to the end. So that's great. And if there aren't many errors and you want to be able to, rather than just scrolling through to see what and where the errors are, then it would be helpful to be able to search the errors. And for some reason or other there aren't any errors, so there's obviously something wrong with the program. So let's just run it on 2. Ready, that one and that one. So we've got a few more errors. We don't know what's going on there, but anyway, let's keep going. If you want to search through, you use the find and replace box, and we put in the nothing in the find box, Control U, so that it's looking for underlining, and then we want to also get it to look for format highlight, so it's now looking for underline highlight. So if I find next, then it will find that one and the next one, and then I can go through them by looking forwards and backwards with find forward and find back, and then I've now got to go off and have a look at the program and find out why it didn't work in that final demonstration. Okay, so that's it. Bye for now.